President, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I tell you what, can I just take you with me everywhere and you can do my introductions? Those were great. It is really wonderful to be here. Good morning. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. I'm from the South. We do call and response. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks. Thank you for that. I want to do a couple of thank yous because there are some really special people here today that made it possible for me to be here, and that is Local 140. We've got the president, Mark Young, over here. Mark. And we also have the treasurer, Barry Byers, and his wife, Fire Captain Christina Byers, are with us as well. So thank you. We also have Council Member Kathleen Murphy, who serves as a huge advocate for the firefighters and has for many years, but also serves on the Nashville Metro Council. I know Kathleen is here as well. You know, I was listening to you speak earlier, and I was listening to you talk about the impact of what it's like for locals. And I know you all are up here to talk about the legislative agenda, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, but it really matters at the local level about what you do. And let me tell you what Local 140 does. Because even though they are tasked every day with getting up and making sure that Nashvillians are safe, they do what so many in this room do. They go and they do more. I know that recently the IAFF granted the possibility for Nashville to do a project that puts coats on the backs of our school children. Our local goes out and raises that money and puts those coats on those kids' backs. Every year they do that. They also started a fund after we experienced a huge disaster in Nashville back in 2010. They started a fund to help local firefighters who have been impacted by disasters in their own communities. Our folks go above and beyond what it's like to just protect, and they make a huge difference in our community. Now, one of the things that the president said when he was introducing me was that I'm the first woman to get elected as the mayor of Nashville, and I am. So I'm oftentimes not the face that people expect when I walk into a room. Recently, I was getting him a cup of coffee in the morning. And I have a detail who's with me. I have a police officer who's with me. And he and I were standing together, and a guy who just moved to town came over and said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my parents. I want to introduce the mayor to them. Will you come over and meet them?" And I said, "Sure, I'm happy to do that." And I walked over with my police officer, and we were standing there, and the young man said to his mom and his dad, he said, "I want you to meet the mayor of Nashville." And Mom, she didn't miss a beat. She stuck her hand right out to me. And Dad didn't miss a beat either. He stuck his hand right out to the police officer. So I know that sometimes the face that I have is not the one that is expected. But I will tell you that this is a face who deeply believes in what you all do. You talked at the beginning about politicians who ask for endorsements but then don't follow through. You talked about the fact that oftentimes these are good photo ops for politicians. I will tell you that when I earned the endorsement, I was honored. And when I came into office, I made sure that I made good on what I had talked about. We significantly increased our budget. We are going to take our first firefighter class since 2010. We purchased 13 fire engines and 10 ambulances. We now have 28 ambulances on the street. We hired 88 additional EMS employees. We made multiple promotions that were long overdue. We took $1 million out of our reserve funds for equipment and personal protective gear because we hadn't updated it in years. We took $10 million in the capital fund to renovate or replace 2 fire halls. And we promoted Chief Ricky White, who had been the interim chief, to the full-time chief. When you say you're going to do it, you should do it. And I appreciate the support. And I have to tell you, there was another public safety organization union that didn't support me. Aw. But I will tell you, I was so excited when they didn't, because they had never picked a winner. So I knew when they did not endorse me that it was all looking up. We heard a minute ago about those fire and safer grants, and I just want to take a minute and talk about that. So President Trump has said that he wants to make infrastructure and public safety one of his top priorities. One area of particular focus should be our public safety infrastructure. I hope that while you are up here on the Hill, that you will make sure that your representatives hear you. Because in Nashville, we were very lucky to get some of those safer grants in 2010 and 2011. It allowed us to hire 67 firefighters that we would not have been able to do when budgets were tight. Many of you are in communities where budgets are tight. You don't want your local community to have to make the choice between safety and a budget cut. So please make sure your voices are heard. I ask you, when you have a struggling financial community, they don't want to have to make that choice. And I also just want to tell you, I know how hard your job is, a little bit. I did go up to Indianapolis last year and do fire ops. Oh my goodness. So let me just tell you, I lost my boot in the hot box, my mask, I don't know, and it was pretty impactful. I did make it all the way up to the top of the ladder though, and they did tell me later that I could have just gotten on it and they could have just lifted me up, but you know, I walked it. And I did it with the equipment on. I know how hard it is for you all to do this. So it's even more important for us to make sure that when you are impacted with your health, that we take care of you, that you get the care that you need and deserve because you have put your life on the line for us. I am truly grateful for all that you do. And I will just leave you with something that I have on my desk. I have a quote on my desk that says that power is about waking up every day and making a difference in somebody else's life. I get to sit in this seat at this moment, and it gives me that chance, but you sit in that seat every day. And not only do you make a difference in somebody else's life, you save a life. I am so grateful for all that you do. Please come and visit us in Nashville. 81 people a day move there, and I bet some of you could be one of those 81. Thank you so much.